legend of Bloody Mary is one of the most enduring and chilling urban legends. The story has many variations, but one of the most common versions goes like this. Legend has it that Bloody Mary is the ghost of a woman named Mary Worth, who lived in the 19th or early 20th century. Mary was said to be a beautiful but troubled woman who practiced witchcraft, or was accused of it by her neighbors, depending on the version of the story. In some versions, she was a mother who lost her children in tragic circumstances. According to the legend, Mary met a gruesome end, either being murdered, committing suicide, or dying in some other tragic manner. Her restless spirit is said to haunt mirrors, particularly when summoned. The ritual to summon Bloody Mary usually involves standing in front of a mirror in a darkened room, often with a lit candle. Participants then chant Bloody Mary a certain number of times, typically 3 or 13 times, while staring into the mirror. Some versions of the legend suggest spinning around or performing other specific actions during the chant. As the chant progresses, it is said that Bloody Mary's ghost may appear in the mirror. Descriptions of her appearance vary, but she is often depicted as a bloody or disfigured woman with glowing eyes, sometimes reaching out to the person summoning her. Encounters with Bloody Mary are said to be accompanied by feelings of fear, dread, or even physical harm. The consequences of summoning Bloody Mary vary in different retellings of the legend. Some versions claim that she will curse or haunt those who summon her, while others suggest that she may even drag them into the mirror world or cause them harm in some other way. Over the years, the legend of Bloody Mary has been passed down through generations and has become a popular ritual in sleepovers and parties, where brave individuals attempt to summon her for thrills or to test their courage. Whether or not there is any truth to the legend, the story of Bloody Mary continues to capture the imaginations of people around the world, adding to the rich tapestry of urban folklore. The urban legend of the Hook is a classic tale that has been passed down through generations with various iterations and adaptations. Here is one common version of the story. On a dark and secluded road, often described as a lover's lane, a young couple parked their car for a romantic evening. As they enjoyed each other's company, the radio interrupted their conversation with a breaking news bulletin. The announcer warned listeners about an escaped mental patient from a nearby institution. The patient was said to be extremely dangerous and had a hook for a hand, having lost his hand in a grisly accident. Despite the chilling news, the couple decided to stay and continue their evening. However, their romantic atmosphere was shattered when they heard a scraping noise outside the car. Startled, they paused and listened intently, hoping it was just the wind or an animal. But the noise persisted, growing louder and more menacing with each passing moment. Feeling uneasy, the young woman urged her boyfriend to leave, but he reassured her, claiming it was probably just a tree branch scraping against the car. Reluctantly, she agreed to stay a little longer, trying to ignore the creeping sense of fear that enveloped her. Suddenly, they heard a loud thud on the roof of the car, followed by an eerie scratching sound. Panic set in as they realized that someone or something was outside, trying to get in. Without hesitation, the boyfriend started the car and sped off into the night, leaving behind a cloud of dust and terror. As they drove away, the young woman couldn't shake the feeling of dread that gripped her. Eventually, they reached the safety of their home, but their relief was short-lived. When they stepped out of the car, they made a horrifying discovery: a bloody hook dangling from the door handle. The legend of the Hook plays on common fears of isolated locations, unknown dangers lurking in the darkness, and the vulnerability of young lovers. It serves as a cautionary tale, warning against the dangers of disregarding warnings and venturing into secluded areas, especially in the presence of potential threats. Despite its fictional nature, the Hook continues to captivate audiences and remains a staple of urban folklore. The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs is a chilling urban legend that has been told in various forms for decades. It typically follows this narrative. The babysitter, a young woman, is hired to babysit children while their parents are out for the evening. The babysitter settles in for the night, often relaxing in the living room or watching television while the children sleep upstairs. The phone calls throughout the evening. The babysitter receives a series of unsettling phone calls. The caller is usually silent or asks if the babysitter has checked on the children. Sometimes the caller makes threats or delivers ominous warnings. The investigation disturbed by the calls, the babysitter contacts the police or informs the parents when they return home. In some versions, the police trace the calls and determine that they are coming from inside the house. The man upstairs, upon investigation, it is revealed that the calls were indeed coming from inside the house. The babysitter learns that an intruder, often referred to as the man upstairs, has been hiding in the house the entire time, posing a threat to her and the children. The babysitter narrowly escapes from the house, sometimes rescuing the children or being saved by the police. The intruder is either apprehended or escapes, leaving the babysitter traumatized by the harrowing experience. The legend of the babysitter and the man upstairs plays on common fears related to home invasion, the vulnerability of being alone in someone else's house, and the idea of an unseen threat lurking nearby. It serves as a cautionary tale warning babysitters and homeowners to be vigilant and aware of potential dangers, even in familiar surroundings. While the legend is likely fictional, it has persisted over time and has been adapted into various forms of media, including books, movies, and television shows. Its enduring popularity speaks to its ability to tap into primal fears and captivate audiences with its suspenseful narrative. The urban legend known as the killer in the backseat has several variations, but here is a common retelling of the story. A woman, often alone and driving at night, stops at a gas station or grocery store to fill up her car or run a quick errand. As she returns to her vehicle and starts driving again, she begins to feel uneasy, as if someone is watching her. Suddenly, she notices a car behind her, following closely and flashing its headlights. Feeling frightened, she tries to shake off the car, speeding up and taking sudden turns, but the other vehicle persists in following her. Panicked, the woman decides to seek help and drives to the nearest police station or crowded area. As she pulls into the parking lot and gets out of her car, the licked hand, the creepiest of all, is a classic urban legend that has been told in various forms over the years. Here is a common version of the story. Once upon a time, there was a young woman who lived alone with her dog in a remote cabin in the woods. One stormy night, she settled into bed, feeling comforted by the presence of her faithful dog lying beside her. As she drifted off to sleep, she heard a dripping noise coming from somewhere in the house. She dismissed it as a leaky faucet or the rain outside and tried to ignore it. Suddenly, she was awakened by an eerie sensation, a warm, wet sensation on her hand. She reached down and felt her dog's tongue licking her hand reassuringly. Feeling comforted by her loyal companion, she drifted back to sleep. The next morning, the woman woke up to find her dog missing. Alarmed, she searched the house and the surrounding area, but there was no sign of her beloved pet. As she continued her search, she heard scratching noises coming from the bathroom. With a sinking feeling in her stomach, she opened the door and made a horrifying discovery: her dog's lifeless body hanging from the shower curtain rod, with a pool of blood beneath it. Shocked and devastated, the woman noticed a message scrawled on the bathroom mirror, written in her dog's blood: "Humans can lick hands too." The legend of the licked hand plays on common fears of home invasion, the vulnerability of being alone, and the idea of an unknown intruder lurking nearby. It serves as a cautionary tale, warning people to be wary of trusting their senses and to always be vigilant, especially when in vulnerable situations. While the story is likely fictional, it has endured over time and continues to be shared as a spooky tale, often told around campfires or during sleepovers. Its chilling twist ending and unsettling imagery leave a lasting impression on those who hear it, contributing to its status as a popular urban legend.